first 2 weeks, you're not on a good pace.
Yeah, you need to switch those 6 out.
Okay.
See, I'm missing
Raise your hand if you have not completed your 3 assessments. Wait, what?
3 assessments?
Wait,
I thought they were in class.
What do you mean?
I don't know. You've done 3 assessments. You've done a senior scholarship essay. That's an assessment.
Okay.
You've done a service learning assessment
Yeah.
and worksheet, and you have an interview thing due today. You have an interview with 21 questions, presidential interview thing. So everybody aware of those things? How many of you are not gonna have that done today?
There's also the institutional values. Is that
No, it's the same thing as the presidential.
Oh my gosh. Thank you.
It's 2 assignments on Canvas.
The institutional thing is
So it's the same thing, but 2 assignments.
Yes, you get double points for 1 day.
So
if I upload a grade
hey, this is my class.
Oh, thank you. It's 21 questions.
Or is this Mr. Bradley's
It's
class?
about like 30.
Your mom's 30.
So Jennifer, you sent me a question.
I just uploaded the
Okay.
questions. On
So when we were doing this class, we divided this class in half. Bradley took half and I took half, and part of his task was interview stuff, and part of my task was assessment stuff. And so each of us created an assignment for this presidential interview, these questions. And so upload that to both places, okay? Do I need to show you?
Yes.
Yeah, because
I'm very
There's so
visual.
many things to turn in, and it's the same thing to turn in.
One assignment, turn it in twice.
Well, yeah, but I think yesterday when I was looking at it, there were 2 different things.
For what?
It's the same assignment, but different name.
Yeah.
That's because he did it his way and I did it my way.
They are under presidential interview preparation and institutional values.
It's the same assignment.
If you go to assignments, it should be right at the top.
I mean, I got it done and I turned it in, but I didn't know that he has to turn it in twice.
It's 53 points. I'm not arguing, I'm 3 points.
Technically, it's not 3 because you had to earn it. Unless you want to do like a
Alright. Okay, so today, here's how my things are gonna work on the assessment side. Well, basically, 1 week we'll take an assessment, and the next week we'll have a conversation about it. So today is conversation day. Alright, but before we do conversation day, I want you guys to do some reflection. So I brought pieces of paper just for you.
For us to reflect.
And I need you to put your name on it.
All right, seniors, and we're finally getting free paper.
Jennifer? Huh? I can try.
So, sorry, but I like to work ahead, so next week's assignment.
Okay.
There's nothing that you can do online on the Canvas, so is it a test we have to take in class, or?
That's what I was thinking.
So next week, you don't have to do any preparation for it. There's no studying for it. Next week, we will do a Bible content exam.
I can't wait to see.
Yes, Jennifer, please read the whole Bible. And I would like a detailed outline of everything you learned. You need to have a separate history section and then a theology section. What?
Will the results of this test be compared to the one we took during state seminar?
No.
That's so disappointing.
Turn it in, right?
How would you know that we have the right?
What's the other one?
Okay, that's mine. The other one is presidential interview preparation.
Hopefully I do.
See, there's 2 parts here. There's assessment, which is my part. there's professional development, which is brand new. Presidential interview, you just need to scroll down. Richard, where have you been? Okay, put your name on here, please. Put your name on here. Divide your paper into 3 sections. So I would draw 2 lines to divide your paper into 3 sections.
Are you wanting hot dog or hamburger style? Or questions?
Very important.
This is
This
hamburger.
way,
I like the hot dog.
columns or
Rows.
rows?
3 rows.
3 rows. There's the.
That is.
Because you're gonna be
That's
writing.
hamburgers.
You're gonna be writing sentences.
You just start.
So here's what I'm
folding the
suggesting.
paper.
I'm suggesting capitalizing the first word and personal names and then putting a period at the end of your sentence.
What's the period? What's that?
Think I know the answer. Nope, we're done. Nope, we're done.
Oh no. That's.
You got exactly what you deserve.
Okay, and you need to number each section, number 1, number 2, number 3.
You want to put our
Did you have your name on this yet? Put your name on this. You don't have to fold it.
It helps with straight. I thought you said it.
I thought we were supposed to hold it.
Who said it folded?
I saw my wife reminding me. We don't do anything in this class. Were we not supposed to do it?
You didn't have to. That's silly. No, you did it wrong. But you can make it work. Question number 1. Question number 1.
Well, I'm still trying to turn my assignment in.
You can make it work. Question number 1 is, what did you learn? What's the most significant thing you learned from your senior scholarship story?
Nothing.
What do you mean?
You wrote a 1,000-word essay. How would you summarize it in 1 sentence?
Can we look at our scholarships?
No, it's your life. You don't have to look at your story. It's inside you already. I'm asking you to reflect on the senior scholarship story and try to like summarize it in 1 sentence or write down what you think was the most significant aspect of your story. Is anybody gonna graduate debt free?
I am
Looks
individually.
like half of you are
Not
gonna graduate
including.
debt free. So that's awesome.
I would be close, but no cigar.
Well, that's good. If you're close, that's
No
fantastic.
cigar.
The cigar part is bad. That's a sin.
Is that a phrase?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never heard that before.
You know, or maybe you wanna write a sentence about how, you know, God has given you direction in your life because you've come to Central. You know, maybe you came without direction or you came with questions, maybe you're gonna leave with some answers. That's a significant thing that's happened in your time at Central.
Is that the second question?
No, that's the first question. I'm just trying to give answers because everybody moaned and groaned when I asked them to think about it. And don't forget that we're on camera, so.
You mean our stupidity is going to be recorded?
It's possible. Is anybody ready for question number 2?
Yes.
You said it only has to be 1 sentence?
1 sentence? Yeah. Or should I say 1 significant sentence?
Is there a word count?
There's no word count at all.
Meaning I need
no.
to put a semicolon and a transitional word in there?
I'm just asking you to think about it. Think about it. Do you have your name on here?
Yeah.
Good job. When I get this one, when I look at this one, I'll think it's mine because it's written with mine.
Yeah.
Question number 2. Question number 2. What did you learn, or what do you consider to be a significant, a significant impact in your life from your service learning worksheet. When you reflect on the service learning that you have done as a student here, how has that impacted your life? So did you have like a certain person you met, or did you have an opportunity that really worked for you, and how did it impact you? And so when I say service learning, that could include anything you did voluntarily, anything you did that you were paid for, a mission trip, those kinds of things. Those are all things I hope you put down on your service learning worksheet. But what kind of impact did service learning make on you? How has it shaped you?
Just one sentence again?
One sentence, two sentences, whatever it takes. You have a 100-word limit, Justin. Should question 3 have one part or two parts?
Definitely one more for those slackers who haven't done it.
Yeah, because we asked a question about a presidential interview, and a lot of us haven't done it.
That's what we're doing. We're asking a question about it.
Yeah, so there should be one.
Cool, we'll make my answer up.
I'll try to phrase the question in a way that you can answer. Are we ready for question number 3?
Yes.
Question number 3. What did you learn? What did you learn, or what stood out, or what seemed significant about the institutional values assessment or the presidential interview preparation? So that document, Dr. Fincher set it up to ask you 3 questions about 7 institutional values. Maybe the question would be, which of these institutional values has been significant to you? And I will read them if you need me to.
Yeah, that would help, because I haven't done it yet.
How have the institutional values had an impact on you? Or you can just answer, when I filled out this form and answered these questions, here's something surprising that happened, or something surprising I thought about, okay? So which of these values maybe stands out to you? Or maybe you just feeling contrary today, and you want to say, here's one value that the college didn't do very well with. I don't know. Or here's a value the college did well with. Are you ready?
Yes.
Heritage of biblical authority. Number 2, discipleship in community. So, have you developed a heritage of biblical authority? Have you experienced discipleship in community? Prayerful ministry. Inspired achievement.
Now, by inspired, do you mean?
We challenge students to accomplish life-changing outcomes by reaching their potential and leading others. Kingdom collaboration. Do you want me to read the description too?
No, that's just you.
Kingdom
you said
collaboration.
Inspired. So I was like, by the Holy Spirit?
No. Personalized attention. affordable opportunities. Those are the 7 values that the college identified in their strategic plan. I think that started in 2018, so you guys have been here longer than that.
Was that inspired thing again?
Inspired achievement. So inspired achievement, if you're answering questions about inspired achievement, like, have you done things that you really never thought you would do? You know, have you accomplished goals that you thought would be really, really difficult, and you were inspired and encouraged to do that?
Well, if graduating is just the one thing we never thought we would do.
Okay.
Never thought we would skid by on the skin of our teeth.
It just doesn't mean it's who you are.
What, you never heard the skin of your teeth?
I thought that was just plaque.
I think maybe it was the skid part that you got it. What do we do with these?
I don't know if I have anything good. Yeah, I do.
Huh?
I don't know if anything's good on here.
It's your story.
This is completion grade.
There's no grade for
Look,
this.
he did hamburger style.
Richard, this is what's gonna happen with these, is
No grade for
Dr. Stevens is gonna take these, 15 years from now, he's gonna figure out what ministry you're in, where you are, he's gonna mail you this with a personalized handwritten letter from himself, discussing with you the impact that you've had on the school, and the impact that you had on him, and either he is disappointed or extremely proud of you. And you'll have to wait 15 years to know.
Yeah, I know which one it is.
That sounds like my Acts class where I made you fill out, this is my mission on the first day of class, and then I gave it back to you on the last day of class. And see
I
what
took
you
it with
said.
you because I failed it with Reese.
Yeah. That's the only students I ever got. I only got the students that failed it with Rick.
Or
I took it with you and you don't tell me.
I was also.
I probably would have done that.
Okay, all right. So, is everybody warmed up now? It's 8:29. We've been here for 20 minutes. Are you stoked about your story? Has Austin inspired you
Yes.
to think about where you will be in 15 years?
Yes.
And you know, Austin, I had the weirdest experience when I went and interviewed at Lincoln Christian Seminary to enter their doctoral program.
I didn't know this.
They asked me, here's what they asked me. You know, I'm a student, okay, I want to come get a degree, right? I want to get my doctorate degree. They go, what are you going to contribute to this college? That was my entrance. That was my entrance interview. And I said, is what I said.
Did you say, like,
I have no idea what I'm going to contribute to
a cassette of-
this institution.
Interview for a seminary? I don't know. I just want a degree.
I just want a degree, yeah. I'm here to get something from you. I'm here to get an education. I'm not here to give you something.
Dude, that's what I would have said.
Oh, money.
I would have said, listen, you got in the.
You should have said, like, a cassette of Louie on repeat.
That was awesome.
Okay.
You lost.
Question number one, how do you guys want to do this? I got some options for you. We could break up into groups and you can talk to each other about your story. But we've got 20 minutes, we got 20 people in class. We got the camera rolling. I mean, it would be really cool if I could get some people to come up and say, here's what I got out of this. So does anybody have something that you feel like would be encouraging, or you have an experience that has been significant to you when you wrote your senior scholarship story? Does anybody have a story they'd like to tell
Sure, I can.
about that?
I can tell my life story.
No. This needs to be short.
Well, I don't.
You got one sentence on the paper, but you can
Actually, I have three.
expand it a little bit on this question. On this question.
On the first question?
So does anybody have? Is there a story you have?
Yeah, I got a story.
that you would like to tell from your senior scholarship essay? So I got Justin wants to go, Lucas wants to go, anybody else want to go?
I can go for number 2.
Andrew's gonna go.
Good work, Andrew.
I mean, you can do more than one.
Sure, I'll go.
Nathan's gonna go. Okay, let's start in the back. Lucas, could you come up here and tell us part of your story?
So there I was.
You're my
So,
hero, Lucas.
When I grew up and my home church supported Central, I always just thought that was something kind of nice to do, you know, give a little money to the college. I didn't know what it all went for, but whenever I started attending and I started seeing that I'm on the track to graduating debt-free, I was very thankful, and I understand that the money that churches give to Central is something that is that I'm going to be indebted to, and I'm very thankful for. And so I just wanted to say that as I'm thinking about like all the donors and all the people who've given to Central, you know, one person doesn't do a whole lot, but when you have a lot of people giving, I think it makes a big impact on what ministry students are able to do with their future. And I don't know if you know this, but ministry doesn't make a lot of money. So if I go into debt, I'm going to be paying that debt off for a long time. And I'm really excited that I will have the opportunity to hop right into wherever I feel the Lord is leading me to next right after college. Because, and Trisha, she's getting offended back there. But I'm thankful for the donors because they're going to allow me and Trisha to do exactly what God's calling us to do next right after Central.
So the answers to these questions are things that you may be telling Dr. Fincher. Okay, Andrew, come on up. So this actually relates directly to the affordable opportunity questions that you had in the values thing.
So for me, the first question, was to look back and see kind of the things that you've really gotten out of that assignment specifically. But one thing that I'm always encouraged to look at is to think about where I came from high school, because in high school, confession time, I pretty much cheated my entire way through high school. I should not have graduated. I mean, if I'm being honest, I was homeschooled, so I could really kind of cheat the system. I learned it very well. So maybe if this is going to be posted, I should have said that, but that's all right. No, but really, I came here very insecure about my academics, about how I was going to be able to succeed in a new place, in college, much more official than homeschooling. But I found it super easy to come here, and the personal aspect of the professors having that one-on-one attention with me helped me succeed in really incredible ways. Like my grades compared to high school, whenever I told my mom what my GPA was at the end of my first semester, she's like, "You're lying, you're making that up." Like, no, I promise, I didn't even cheat. So, I mean, it was very encouraging for me to even look back now at where I'm at and to think that the success that I've had here is strictly directed and connected with the professors, the one-on-one relationships that I can have with them, the tutoring opportunities, the really just the easy teaching style that the professors have to provide a way for me to learn, to actually grow, and to just help me succeed here. So that's my story, and it's just encouraging to look back at where I was to where I am now.
All right.
Yeah! Give it up for trying to wake up at 8 a.m. Yeah. So I came to Central like so many of you guys because it was cheap. I also came here because it was the place where my mentor went. He said, "Yay, if you're going to Bible college, you should go to Central, get the same experience I did." And I'm like, well, I've got nothing else better to do. I was serious. No, seriously, it was either that or I was just going to find some place taking warm bodies and just trying to find a nice hill to die on or something. But coming here as a young Christian, one of the things I learned most from has to deal with the biblical authority, or in other words, I feel like here at Central I've really learned what it means when we call the Bible the Word of God, and what it means to actually have respect for the words written to us from ancient times that are actually the true Word of God, not just neat stories, not just suggestions, but the actual literal breathing Word of God, and what it means to actually follow that and take that seriously instead of just the writings of a book. Thank you.
Who was your mentor?
Dave Warner.
Dave Warner, wow, okay. Man,
You say that, but you
flash
know
from the
his name.
past,
That's
that's way back.
71.
That's way back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey y'all. Hey y'all. All right, so my story is, so in my area, I've never really heard of Central Christian College, the Bible. It's kind of a not heard of thing in Saginaw, Michigan. Never to be heard of. When I was looking for a Bible college, there's not a lot of Christians my age in my area. They're very liberal arts focused, and there's nothing wrong with that. But there's not a lot of people that I can relate with, and so it was really weird to hear of a school that would be Christian with me, if that makes sense. Yeah. And so I was looking at different Christian universities, Christian schools, and stuff, and the problem is my GPA, ACT, or finances weren't very high. My scores weren't at all. I think I came in with like a 2.1, and I'm glad to be a 3 point now, or something like that. But my cousin came to me, and he went here. I think his senior year was online, and he was doing his senior year as I came in as a freshman, whatever that means. And he told me about Central, and basically he gave me a pen, and I was like, oh. And so it had the name on it, so I was like, might as well look at what they have. And I heard about the full tuition scholarship, but the more and more I invested in it, the more and more Central became a thing to me. And so I was like, okay, well, here we go. I got accepted at this crazy school. I'm going to an Focus Friday in the middle of Missouri. I thought this was in Massachusetts at first, and I was really excited to be near Boston. That was not the case. And but as I came here, I got to know Christians my own age, like a different perspective from a territory that I'm not used to and stuff. And I'm still learning that, and it still amazes me that all of you guys are my age and aren't Christian. But being here, I was given the opportunity to field experience and service leadership is probably what gave me the best education.
Okay, we're not answering that question right now.
Well,
We'll
I thought
get
it was
there.
part of it.
Okay.
But here,
You
100
got the
words
stage.
or less.
You got the stage.
Yeah, 100 words or less. I can do
Okay.
it now. Yeah. I'm fine with me, Ben.
You maxed out for everyone.
But-
Are you using up your words, Jay?
But anyways, man, it really helped me figure out what I'm doing with my life. As one of the very few cross-cultural students, there's like 10 of us now. I'm able to stand up here and positively say I know where I'm going to do ministry, and it's because of Central and my learning experience with worship, with cross-cultural ministries, with the outreach trips and everything else. I'm able to do that. So, yeah.
Who's your cousin?
Austin Keller.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I keep forgetting
Yeah.
all
Yeah, we all know him. Well, sort of.
Yeah, it's Michigan.
He lives an hour away from
No,
me.
about 3 of us.
Okay,
4, 5.
second question. Did you have a service learning, or in the old days it was called Christian service experience, that was really formative to you and had a big impact on your life? So who wants to talk about service learning?
Oh, I think I answered the question.
I guess I.
Okay, we got Destiny. Can we get a couple more? Wow. Ronnie, very good. Anna, okay. Let's roll. Let's roll.
I have a very short story, but I want to. It's very
Okay,
relevant.
you're up. Destiny.
Yes.
Is marriage your wants?
No, mine would definitely be being an RA. I know that sounds super I don't know. But anyway, when I actually rejected being an RA the first time because I was scared to do it. And then the second time, Anne was like, you need to be an RA. And so I was like, okay. But I just experienced a lot of growth and a lot of like things and lessons that I carry with me today. Because being an RA helped me to like truly like serve people in a very personal, real level. And I learned how to like love people genuinely and meet people where they're at. And also I was grown and stretched a lot. I was bad at confrontation, still not great at it, but I'm better at it in like a loving way. And I'm more confident with who I am and my abilities to really invest in loving people.
Hey, is being an RA really like running a nursing home for teenagers?
Just kidding.
Ladies and gentlemen, Roddy Robb.
I can't really think of a specific event that has like a cool story, but I was helping with like the freshman service day a couple weeks ago, and it helped me to just like look back on myself as a freshman and how unwilling to serve I was as a freshman compared to now. And just my attitude towards service I feel like has grown a lot because of Central and the opportunities that they've given me to kind of be forced to do it, but also just because that's given me an appreciation for that. But one specific event that I was able to go on, which doesn't really talk about service specifically, but for a service day I went back to my home camp and cleaned up there. And I really appreciated like doing that because it just reminded me of where I was in high school versus where I am now. And that was like my sophomore year. So like after 1 year of like being at Central, seeing how much I had changed since the last time I had been at that camp was something that I really appreciated. Even though that's not really about serving, but.
That sounds a lot like serving. These stories are really cool about how responsibility changes you and how perspective changes you. You know, I loved camp growing up, and after I graduated from high school, I spent that next summer, the whole summer at camp, and it just completely changed, you know, how I understood what went into it. Austin?
Did you know today's Brandon Riley's birthday?
Is it really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Where is he?
Ladies and gentlemen, Anna Fisher.
So this kind of ties in the first and second question. So this summer I did an internship with the camp, and at one of the weeks of camp, one of the leaders so we had a pretty big staff, and they were all really cool. I felt like everyone did a great job working with the kids. But one day, one of the leaders from a church came up to me and was like, "Have you worked with kids before? Did you have like some sort of formal training? Because I feel like you're doing a really great job." And that sounds really braggy, but it meant like a ton to me because I was able to say, yeah, I go to a Bible college, and we have had classes about how to work with kids, how to work with youth, and be intentional and all this stuff. And so it was really cool that they noticed like you're doing a great job, and you're like putting your education into your service. So that was kind of a cool moment for me. Again, not trying to brag. That was just cool.
Okay, so this is actually about my very first day of service, freshman year. And this also ties into like my first impression of Dr. Pritchard. So like, it's positive, don't worry, it's positive. Okay, so what we were doing was, we were landscaping right outside the student center, you know, filling in like the black tarp thing you put down, like where the little bed garden stuff is and then rocks over, you know what I'm talking about. It was really difficult, it was really hot. And so then I saw Dr. Fincher helping us out with that, along with Mark too. But I had no idea who Dr. Fincher was at the time. I didn't know he was the president. I thought he was just a guy who was just helping us out. And I was like, wait, who is this guy? He's really good at leading, but whatever. But then the following chapel that same week, when he got up to speak and he introduced himself as the president, I was like, wait, what? This is the president? He was helping us out with just some service project? Wait, what? Why? And then he went on explaining how like one of the biggest things he finds important, and that one of the biggest things he values is service. And I was just like, well, I clearly saw that in action. So he really means what he says. He's not just saying that; he really believes that. And yeah, I just found that really cool, and it was one of the really big things that helped me raise my respect for this school and like how intentional everyone here in leadership is. So, yeah.
Okay, we have 4 minutes left. Does anybody want to talk about a value? Anybody want to talk about a value?
To you,
happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Bradley. Happy birthday to you.
I like that value.
Speech.
I'm a little concerned some of you
talk
don't
about the
know who you're
values.
singing to. Because I heard my name shared like 5 different ways. But that was very nice.
Okay. Does anybody have a value they want to share before our time runs out? Bree, get up here.
So I was like, you sent me that text, and I'm like, obviously he just didn't have much to say.
I haven't said anything.
Yeah, it's the way to teach a class.
That's right. I learned that from Mr. Charles.
So when I started my time at Central, I did not think I was going to make it to this point today. I come from a family where no one has a degree, and a really poor family, and I thought, well, I'll do this, and hopefully it'll work out, but I'm not expecting it to work out. And then also during my freshman year, my dad passed away really unexpectedly, and that was like, oh my gosh, like, I'm probably really not gonna make it. But I stuck with it, and I even did camp teams that summer, and the summer after, and that first summer was really rough, so
It was.
yes, it was. It was better with life, I'm not gonna lie. But the value that sticks out to me with this is inspired achievement. And there's this song that I heard sometime within the last year, and part of the bridge, it talks about how with God that we can go greater than we can, oh, I gotta pull that back up. Greater than we can ever dream, further than we could ever see, and higher than we could ever reach, and stronger than we could ever be. And I think, you know, through Central and through this opportunity that I've gotten here, through everything that I thought coming in has been so different, and it's not something that I would have had without, you know, my professors and the scholarship and all of it.
All right, hey, please drop your papers off. Actually, I don't really care.